This is the inside of the Benimar Mileo 231. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on by firstly pressing this button, followed by this one here. You'll now see that all of the interior lights have come on. These can all be turned on and off on their own switches. Next we have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it has been drained down. Next we have awning light on and off, and then buttons along the bottom mainly give us information. So this first one here will give us a condition reading of the leisure battery. Next we have a condition reading of the vehicle battery, how much water is in the fresh tanks. You'll see that we've got a very minimal amount at the moment, so this amber light will continue to flash every now and then to let us know that we are getting low on fresh water. Whenever the grey water tank needs emptying, you'll get a red flashing light just here next to the waste tank symbol, and if either of the batteries are low, again you will get flashing indicators. This last button here just controls the illumination of the control panel itself. We then have this light on just here, and this is just indicating that we're currently connected to mains electricity. And when we start the engine of the motorhome, a light will come on next to this symbol just here to indicate that the alternator is charging both batteries. To be able to view this though, this button and this button do need to be on. If I now drop just underneath the main control panel, we then have the control panel for the Truma heating and hot water system. So you'll see at the moment there's just displaying the time, and it's also letting us know that we have main supply connected. If I now press the button just here, we will get a series of icons, and as I begin to rotate this button, they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just there, this is for your heating. So if I now press the button, you'll see that heating is off, and all we now do is just rotate the button and select what temperature we would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to 30 degrees. Once you've decided on a temperature, just press the button to store it in, and you'll now see a little flame has appeared above, and this flame just represents the heating system, and it's just letting you know that you have set a parameter. Whenever the heating is in operation, the flame will begin to flash, and it will continue to flash until it has achieved the temperature you have asked. If I now move across to the next icon, this one here is for your hot water. And again, if I now press the button, you'll see that hot water is off. And if I rotate, I can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a temperature of about 40 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can heat it in hot, which will give us a temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate again, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost was mainly designed for if there's going to be more than one of you having a shower in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water very quickly. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off because the boost requires the extra power to perform. If I now drop back down into eco, the heating will come back on again, and again the symbol will continue to flash until it's achieved the temperature you have asked. If I now move across to the next icon, this one here is power source selection. So at the moment, to do both heating and hot water, I'm using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts, indicated by the 2 little lightning strikes up here. If I rotate the button, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is very handy if you're on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. If we have both power sources available, we can also run in dual fuel, so a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatt, or a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt. Very handy, this setting, if you are using the motorhome in the colder winter months, because you can get up to temperature nice and quickly, and it will only consume gas as it is required. And then lastly, if we have no main supply connected, we can solely run on gas. If we now move across to the next icon, this one here is the circulation fan for the heating. You can run the fan in eco, high or boost. And if I now turn off both hot water and heating, and now return back to the circulation fan, we can also use it to vent, and it has a fan speed of 1 to 10. If I now move to the lower icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click on it, it will ask you when you would like the timer to begin, and then when you would like the timer to end. And then once you've done this, just select what you would like on within that time period. Once you've done this, timer off or on, and if I now activate the timer icon will come up here, and now within that time period those settings would apply. If I now go back, I can now turn the timer off, and when we go back in, I can then re-alter it. Next icon is literally clock set. And then lastly, we have the settings menu. So within this we have offset, which is just for the thermostat just here. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Whether you prefer your temperature displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of this screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software it's running. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time, these can throw up error codes, and an error code will appear as a series of numbers and letters, and you'll get a warning triangle just here where my finger is. If you look in the manual or you Google the error code, it will then tell you what the fault is. A lot of the time it will just be basic stuff, so if you're trying to run heating or hot water on main supply and you do not have mains connected, it will let you know. The same is if you're trying to run it on gas and your gas is depleted or not turned on. 9 times out of 10, if you just rectify the problem, the error code will just automatically disappear. If this does not happen, go to the warning triangle and just double press on the button, and it will a lot of the time just say no error and then disappear. If this still doesn't work, if you have anything running along the top here, just turn it off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If that still does not solve the issue, just turn the control panel on and off. And the way we do this is just by holding the button in until it says off. If when you turn it back on again you still have an error code, I always suggest doing the factory reset, because sometimes that is all that is required. This Truma system can be controlled via the Truma app. If you are going to use this, firstly download the app onto your device, and then make sure your Bluetooth is turned on, and then launch the app. Once it's activated, press the button that says remote control on your device, and then follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly ask you to come to the iNet box, which in this model is located above the microwave, and it will then ask you to press the Bluetooth button. It will then send the Bluetooth signal out, and you will be able to connect up to it and control your heating and your hot water locally via Bluetooth. What you can also do is buy a pay-as-you-go SIM card, insert it where my finger is here and register it through the app, and then control your heating and your hot water from much further afield. Also, whilst we're up here, we have the digital amplifier for the television aerial on the roof, on and off just here, and then control the boost just here, and then pop a TV on the TV bracket, and then it plugs in up here, so 12 volt if you're running a 12 volt TV, or a main socket, and then the aerial fly lead in just here. If I now just come to this seating area just here and remove the cushions, and I now lift up, you'll see we have some storage in here. We also have the battery charger just here, so this is what's charging both vehicle and leisure battery when the motorhome is hooked up. We also have part of the battery charger as well here as well. This is where the solar panel is linked up to as well, as you can see just there where it says solar. You do not need to do anything with the solar panel, it will just smart charge the batteries as it's required. And then if I just flap this front down here, we then have the mains trip switches just here. So we have the individual MCBs, main RCD and the test button just there. So if anything is not working on main supply, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. And then beside that, we have the 12 volt fuses just there. So if anything is not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you've blown a fuse. Tucked underneath the dinette table, you will find a switch. This switch here is on when it's illuminated, and it controls the heater within the waste tank. So if you are using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can pop this on to avoid any frost damage occurring to that tank. The freshwater tank does not have a heater, as it is an internal tank. And if I now just remove the cushions here, I can show you. So if I now just lift up here, you'll see the fresh water tank. You can gain access to it by unscrewing the black cap here if you want to clean the tank out. And we also have the water pump just here. The dinette table extends by pulling down just here, and then this will allow it to swing round. Microwave just here. This will work when the motorhome is connected to main supply, and it's always advisable to remove any contents for travel. We then have power setting just here, and then timer set just here. Directly beneath that is the Fetford fridge freezer. Turn the unit on and off just here, and this is an automatic model. So as long as it's on A for auto, it will find the best power source for you. So because we're currently connected to main supply, it's put us onto mains with a little picture of the 2-pin plug. If I was to now run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas. And then as soon as we start the engine of the motorhome, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. As you can see, this screen will disappear after a few seconds, but you can see that it's still on by the little blue light just here. If I now just tap that again, it will re-illuminate. And I can take it out of auto if needed, just by pressing here. So I can manually put it onto mains, manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. We're going to get an error code at the moment, and we're going to get a red light flashing just here because the engine's currently not running. And then I can also manually put it onto gas. But automatic is the easiest function to have it on. Temperature control just here. And then the unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off just here. The anti-condensation jacket needs to be on, especially in the warmer months of the year. This will stop a build-up of condensation behind the unit, which would then run down and form a puddle beneath. Freezer box at the top, and then the fridge beneath. And because it is a very large fridge, it does have a secondary travel catch at the bottom. Omnivent fan above my head just here. To use this, first wind the roof vent open, and then the middle button turns the unit on, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling, and it's variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are closed for travel. Wardrobe just here. And then we have the extractor fan, light on and off just here, and then fan on and off on here. Directly beneath it, the hob. So electric hot plate just here, and again, like the microwave, will work when connected to main supply, and it operates just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. We then have the two gas burners. Push in, twist and push the igniter. And then directly beneath that is the oven and the grill. Push into the left for the oven. And then push in and go to the right for the grill. Cutlery drawer just here. But you'll also find the gas isolation taps for the motorhome in here as well. So we have heating and hot water, fridge, barbecue point, and the cooker. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say these are more for maintenance than anything else. If you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. Washroom. So we have the basin, light switch is just here. We then have the shower. Do make sure that all the shower screens are clipped back for travel. Next we have the Fetford Toilet. The bowl does swivel. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever across and then blue button to flush, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. Level indicator just here. This will rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying. If I now lift up the mattress on the fixed bed, and then we can lift this section up just here, you will see that we can gain access to the storage compartment beneath. We also have the spare wheel just here, and then tucked underneath this section here is the Truma boiler. The drain valve for the boiler is just located here, and this particular drain valve is automatic. So if the temperature inside the motorhome around this area drops below about 3-4 degrees, that valve will automatically open and drop all the water out of the boiler to frost protect itself. If you are going to manually drain it, you come to the blue diamond on the top and twist it, and it will then begin to drop all the water out underneath the motorhome, draining the boiler down. I always suggest that if you are fully winterizing, that you also go around and open up all the taps as well, because this will help release any airlocks in the system and make it drain down much more efficiently. You'll now see that when I turn this, a blue button will pop out at the base of the unit. And it will now drop all the water out. To reclose it, twist and then push the blue button back in again, and then turn the water pump on, and it will then begin to re-prime the boiler. If you have fully drained everything down and opened the taps up, I always suggest that you run the taps. They'll cough and splutter as they force the air out. Once they're then running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and the system will fully reprime itself. Both front seats swivel, as you can see, and they rotate round on the levers just here. They are also height adjustable on these two levers, and then move backwards and forwards on the bar underneath, and then backrest adjust just here.